Hi everyone, welcome to the Latina Lifestyle Legacy podcast and / YouTube channel.
Yeah.
For what is your YouTube channel called?
It's called Ralph and Natalie.
Yes, and I'm here with Natalie Hernandez and I'm Reina Marufo, and I'm gonna be interviewing Natalie.
I'm so excited to be here today. I feel like we've been planning this out forever.
Yes, and we've literally been talking 2 hours before this, but
I know.
we are gonna be finally kind of sharing your story and your journey. And first of all, share like how old you are.
So I'm 22 years old. I turned 22 in July, so recently.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of like a big shock to everyone. They're like, you're so mature for your age and da-da-da-da. But yeah, I'm 22.
Yeah, and I mean, I can kind of relate to that because people have told me too, but you are like on another level. And so where are you from? Kind of share a little bit of your background, like growing up, a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so my dad is from Guadalajara and my mom's from Mexicali. I grew up in Bellflower, California, and then I went to school in Berkeley, so I lived in Berkeley for a bit. I came back after Berkeley and I bought my house in La Mirada. So I lived there for 6 months and now I live in Costa Mesa. So I've kind of been around up north, down in Orange County. We love to try different places to live and see what we like. But yeah, that's kind of mostly Southern California growing up.
Do you have an idea of like where you would want to live in the future?
Yeah. It's funny that you bring that up because I've always said I wanted to live in Newport. Actually, not always. As of 3 months ago, since I moved to Orange County, I was like, I want to live in Newport. So yesterday, Ralph and I actually drove through Newport all the way down to Laguna because we're like, let's start to see like what area we want to like live in.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
Yeah, we're that type.
And who is Ralph?
Oh, Ralph is my boyfriend partner. He's also my business partner in everything that I do.
Shout out to him. Yeah. A tech guy.
Behind the scenes right now as we speak, software engineer. Incredible partner. So yeah, we drove down and it wasn't what I like now that I'm a little, I guess, like grown up from last year. We were thinking about it. I'm like, I like it, but I don't know if like long term this is where I would want to be. So we're still thinking about it. And as of recently, we're like, okay, we can either stay like Orange County. Now we've been thinking about like either like Calabasas, Bel Air, like Thousand Oaks, Encino area. So I think after our lease is up here, we're probably going to live over there for like a year or two and really decide between the two.
Wow, I love that. Yeah. Like you guys are gonna be kind of testing out where you want to live and filling it before. Like, and I love that you mentioned Bel Air because that's my big goal too.
Oh, really? You like Bel Air?
Yes. I'm like, we gotta invest in a lot.
Yeah. So for me, I really want a good place that I can like raise a family. I like love kids. I want like a good area, safe, somewhere that's kind of like more outskirts. So like I love the city life, but like I just like the no parking and like the dirty streets, you know. So we're trying to find like that pocket that we like. I know it's crazy. People are like, you're already thinking about that, but like because I need to test out the waters before I like, you know.
It's a serious decision.
Yeah.
I love it. And so have you always been this way, very like, or where do you notice like, or when did you notice that you were like, whoa, I'm very goal oriented? Or
I think at a very young age. I mean, obviously, like I just want to take it back all the way. When I first bought my house, I was 21 and my dad was giving a speech and he's like, I've always known since she was a little girl that she was different. And so then we've always talked about it. And even at like 5 years old, I obviously don't want to do this now, but when my biggest dream was to own my own like nail salon, right? And I could have just been like, oh, I want to like be a nail tech, but like I've always wanted to own it. And I would drive by like there's this Kmart and I'm like, I want this like nail salon. It's gonna say Natalie's Nails, right? At 5 years old, I was already like, I want to be my own boss. I want to have my own salon, right? And that like idea of being my own boss like never faded away. Like I always knew it. I actually was gonna be a lawyer. I like went to school and everything. But I still, in the back of my mind, was like, I'm going to own my own law firm, right?
Yeah,
so, like, that
always do your own thing.
Always. Yeah, and then when I was, like, 14, I was listening to Andy Frisella. So, I mean...
14?
Yes, I have 15.
Oh, my God, you're an OG.
I am an OG. Like, Thursday Thunder, Friday Fire. Yeah, I'm an OG.
Shout out to Andy.
Yeah, no, I'm an OG, right? And I was like...
Yo, Andy, I call him.
And I was in my ceramic class, so vivid, I remember. I would put my earphones on, and I was just, like, doing ceramics, and I was just thinking about it, right? So, as, like, young as I can remember, I've always felt different. Like, inside, like, I've always was very, like, driven, entrepreneur-like, so... That's beautiful. That kind of never, like, faded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, talk about your business, the notary business, and how did that came to be? What sparked that idea?
Yeah. So,
and what is notary for those people that don't know?
So, at 18 years old, at this time, I was a full-time student at UC Berkeley. So, I was up north, and then it was winter break. Okay. So I had like maybe 3 weeks at home, and my sister's like, you should become a notary. I had no idea what that was. Basically what a notary does is you just verify that the person signing is them. And what I specialize in is like whenever someone buys or sells a house, that like stack of paperwork that they go through, I was the notary at the time. I would just check their ID. Okay, that's them. Sign, stamp, and make sure that it just helps, like, prevent fraud. Yeah. So, anyways, I had no idea what a notary is at the time. And then I Googled, like, notary classes near me. And I found one, and it was, like, 40 minutes away the next day. Wow. So, the next day, I went to take the course. It was, like... Action taker. Yeah, that's the thing. We jump into things right away. Yeah. That's kind of, like, an ongoing trend with everything that we do. So, the next day, I took it. It was, like, a 6-hour, like, course. And then I took the test right after. And I took the test, and I was talking to people there, and they're like, oh, this is, like, my 3rd time here. And I was like, shit. They were, like, scaring me. And within 15 minutes, I was done with the test. And they give you, like, an hour. Oh, wow. And I'm like, okay, like, no one's getting up. Yeah. I, like, triple-checked it. I'm like, I either did really good or really bad, and I turned it in. And then a month or 2 later, I was at Coachella, actually, and I got an email that I passed. Yay! Yeah, so I passed, right? And then I didn't do much with my notary license as much. And then COVID hit. And this is where, like, my life completely changed. So I was still a full-time student at UC Berkeley, but now I was living at home. Yeah. And, like, I'm a hustler. Like, once I'm home, I'm taking advantage. Yeah. So I started door knocking. I started cold calling, like, email, everything. And I started picking up so much business, talking to people, DMing people. And I became, like, everyone's go-to notary for, like, all their loan signings. And then I was like, oh, my gosh, like, what if I can create something? I got so much business, but, like, I only had so many times to do signing. I'm like, what if I create something where, like, I can send other notaries, you know, like, can, like, outsource it. So that's when Natalie's Notary was started. I think I was, like, 19 years old. Oh, my God. So I was, like, sending other notaries, like, a team. So that happened. And then a couple months later, I was doing, like, really well with that. I met Ralph, who is my partner and everything that I do. And he's like, oh, like, we can, like, do this. We can create this software and, like, we can streamline your text messages. So then we created Luxury Loan Signers, and now it's a nationwide signing service that, like, we help so many notaries and... Yeah. Oh, so and people, if they want to sign up and do, like, their notary, they go to your website, or they have to take a course first? So they have to already be a notary, and then they can sign up to our platform, and that's another business that we have. Yeah, girl, talk about it. Yeah, so recently, actually, we launched our software notary business, which is called the Signing Platform. And basically what it is, it's a platform that connects signing service owners like myself and notaries. So it connects people who need notaries, and then it connects notaries who want business to signing service owners. And there's no platform. There's a couple platforms, but they're outdated. It's like ugly, not user friendly. So ours is very innovative, user friendly, and super, super cool. So if there are any like notaries, loan signing agents that want business, it's free to join the signing platform. It's literally thesigningplatform.com. You can sign up and potentially get business from signing service owners. So we kind of created like a 2-in-1 business.
Yes. Okay. So your notary the signing
the service and then
the software. And then also share about your Airbnb.
Yeah.
So, okay, that is like a whole other business.
Yeah. So, it was January of last year. So it's coming on a whole year. And I was home for winter break. Everything great happens when I was like home from winter break.
Wow.
But I was still a full-time student at UC Berkeley. But it was break time. So I was here at home. And, I remember I was at dinner. We were going to buy a house together in May when I graduated from school. I was about to graduate in a couple months. And I was at dinner with my sister, who's a loan officer, actually. And she's amazing. So if you guys need anything, Patty the Mortgage Girl on Instagram. She's the best. And I'm like, oh, like, we're going to buy a house. And she's like, oh, like, do you have any to show me right now? Like, since you're home, like, you should put in offers since you can see them. And she kind of put me on the spot. I was like, oh, well, we're thinking of waiting till May. And she's like, the rates are going to go up.
Yeah.
And thank God I listened to her. And Ralph and I, we take action right away. So I was at dinner and I was like, I literally looked up like houses with the pool because I really wanted a pool. And I found one. I was like, oh, look, we like this one. Like, I've been looking at this one, even though I just looked it up on the spot.
Yeah.
So, the next day, we went to go see it. Okay. We put an offer in, and it's in La Mirada. And it was beautiful. 4-bedroom, pool, huge yard, like,
it was
remodeled.
Really nice.
And we go, and there's, like, a line to even see the property. It was, like, peak of COVID. So, it was, like, a line to see the property, like, there was over 30 offers. Yeah, it was insane. And we put a really good offer in. Like, we wrote a letter, like, the whole shebang. And then couple days later, our offer was accepted out of all of them. And we literally closed in 14 days. Like, 14 days later, I moved into my new first home at, like, 21 years old.
Oh, my God.
I know. And then I still had my lease in Berkeley. Like, I was only on winter break. So we had to pay a hefty amount to get out of there. Yeah. I was still a full-time student, so thank God I was able to do classes online for that last semester. Yeah. But yeah, that's the story how we purchased the house. And then we lived there for 6 months. And we were like, oh, we've always wanted to do Airbnb.
Yeah, okay.
Always, yeah. And so then one day we were like, oh, let's just do it. Like, let's just put it up to see what happens. And we just put it up. Bookings. Yeah, we just put it up and we didn't think anything of it. Next thing you know, our house was booked out till like December.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we set up our Airbnb, like the listing in one night. And within a week, we were out of the house. Yeah. Because our house was so booked. So we only lived in our house for 6 months and then we Airbnb'd it out.
Yeah. And how do you feel now with that decision?
Oh my God. It couldn't have been a better decision. Like, it kind of prompted us to even buy more Airbnbs. Like, we want to buy another cabin. And we really just dove straight into the Airbnb game. And I couldn't be more thankful. Like, we just go in on everything that we do. Yeah. But we absolutely love Airbnb.
Okay. Yeah. And what do you feel like? I would want to know, because all of these amazing successes that you've had, like, but what are some of your, I want to know, like, your financial, like, money habits that are healthy that have prepared you for like investing in your business, investing in a home. Like, what are some tips you can give to people?
Yeah, so I think, it kind of started when I actually had my first job. When I was in high school, I worked at Mrs. Fields, like the cookie store.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really wanted to buy my first car. And my dad's like, if you, like, put half, like, I'll put the other half. And I remember with all my checks, I would, like, split it. So, like, I would only, like, take 10% for myself. And I would put, like, all of it away.
Wow.
So, by the time... So, I worked there for, like, high school. I bought my first car. But then, even after that, like, anything else that I did, I would do that structure. So, when I was a notary, I was living at home. Yeah. I was 18 years old. And I was just stacking and racking. Stacking and racking like crazy. So I think that really, really helped me. And even now, something that Ralph and I always talk about is like, even when we do triple, quadruple our income, like we still have to live, you know, as if we're chasing the next dollar. Because a lot of people, they get comfortable and they start doing well, and then they start blowing all their money, right? So I think if you could live below your means of what you're making, I think that's great. And I'm not saying we don't spoil ourselves, because we have everything that we want. But I think that's something that has really helped us. Yeah.
And I think I love how you guys also level up your lifestyle. I think that's also really important, like where you kind of, as much as your business grows, you also kind of like, now you're living in like a spot that's a little bit more, you know, maybe you're gonna live here in the long term, maybe you're not. I think that's really powerful too, because your environment is like really important.
Yeah, right? And that's why we go to like Equinox, we go to the nicest dinners, like we go, like even for the bar, I'm like, where should we go? We'll go to like Mastro's and go to the bar there, right? And then we're able to like meet like the coolest people that inspire us and encourage us and empower us, and environment is truly like super, super important. Yeah.
And what are some maybe books, podcasts that we've mentioned Andy for
Theo Andy.
That's
funny. I've never thought of that.
And Theo Ermaile. I mean, I call them all Theos. But what are some like podcasts and books that you'd recommend?
I think the main person right now for me that has really like impacted a lot of the things and decisions has to be Alex Hormozi. Okay. I love, like, he's just so genuine and like everything that he does, and he's an amazing like business person to follow. So.
And he's so chill.
Yeah, he's so dope.
But also like intense.
I think a good mix of like Andy Frisella, Alex Hormozi, and like Ed Milet, like that's like my triangle that I really like follow and listen to. So just listening to their content. And I think at one point I was listening to like a lot of podcasts, a lot of books, right? Reading different books. But one thing I've learned, it's like better to like follow and reread the same books and get that concept instead of like so many different people. Yeah. So because you're like kind of, it's like too much.
Yeah, you know? It can be. Yeah, I know. I'm rereading a book right now on like investing out of state. Now that I'm in like that mastermind I was saying, and it's definitely just a different. Like I feel I'm going more in depth with it rather than just like reading.
Yeah, like. If you go to our apartment, we literally have like, I don't know, close to 100 books.
Oh my god!
I know, we keep buying more, but I'm like, okay, like we have to like, you gotta read them, and like reread them and learn them, right? And I'm like,
I take action,
take notes and actions. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. And what about some like daily habits? I know we've talked about this before, but some habits that you recommend that you do in the morning. I guess just walk us through your
throughout the day. Yeah, so what Ralph and I like, I think the day begins at night, like the night before.
Okay.
So the night before, Ralph and I have really been strict on waking up early. And in order to wake up early, like you have to go to sleep at a reasonable time. So I would
say
sleep
is important.
Sleep, At like 7:30, we start winding down. And it's funny because the other day my sister wanted to have brunch with us on Sunday, and we were supposed to go like at I think 2, and then she's like, we're running late, and like she kept pushing it back, and she's like, can we do 7:30? And I'm like,
girl,
oh no, she said like 8, and I'm like, I eat dinner at 4:30. I'm like, she's like, just this one time, and I'm like, no. I'm like, no, because that's a non-negotiable for us in this moment. Like,
because that just affects everything else.
Exactly. And it's my sister, and obviously we rescheduled and we actually went the other day. Yeah. But it's like something that Ralph and I have been learning more is how to say no. Yeah. And
oh my god.
And she was on FaceTime with me and I felt bad, but I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can't push it back. Because like it really, especially on a Monday, like we had to get that day going. So by 7:30 we're winding down. And then like we'll plan out the day before. So like in bed we'll kind of schedule everything. Yeah. And I like to do a whole bunch of stuff all in one day. Okay. And Ralph is like, you need to focus. So he actually will like kind of review, okay, like you're on track for the day. And we need systems in place. Like I will run around and try to do different things. He's like, okay.
Like it's productive, but it's not like maybe
efficient. So he's a strategy. He's like, okay, this is good. Yeah. We like to wake up at 5 a.m.
Okay.
And then we'll work for a little bit together. Since like that's our time to like work on things together, or if he needs to like fix a bug or do a feature, like he'll code up. And then we'll go to Equinox in the morning. So by like 6:37, we're at Equinox. We get our workout in. The steam room is a must for us in our morning routine. So after we work out, we'll do the steam room. The cool thing too is we always have like steam room thoughts. Because if you think about it, like there's really not a time in your day where you're just in your thoughts with no phone, like nothing. So we do the steam room, right? And then we'll shower and get ready at Equinox. Yeah. By this time, it's probably like 8. Okay. And every time in the car, we share our steam room thoughts.
Oh, so, okay. So you guys are alone. Like,
yeah, it's separate steam rooms. Okay. Yeah, it's like the guys and the girls
steaming it up.
No, no, it's like separate steam rooms.
Okay, right.
It's separate. So, we always ask each other, like, what were your steam room thoughts? That's like a thing.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so we'll talk about our steam room thoughts. Like, he's like, oh, my steam. It's kind of, usually deep conversations. Dang. Like, because
you're like, you have that moment to yourself.
Yeah, you're like.
Yeah, I think it's important. I take 10 minutes, like, out of my day to just
sit. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I really can't just like sit and like meditate. I'm very like antsy and very like, but the steam room is good for me because it forces me to be like in
and you're still like detoxifying.
Yeah, I mean it's great for your body. Yeah. And then like so I think the steam room is different from the sauna. It's like fog everywhere. So you can't see anything. It's like all white.
Okay. I thought they were the same. No.
So it's steam everywhere. So you can't see. And like when I literally feel like I'm in heaven.
Like visualization.
Yes, like, it's deep. It's deep.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, so after that we exchange steam room thoughts and then we get home. We'll talk about like other high level things that we need to do for the day. And then we'll go our separate ways for the day. So at this point, it's like 8:30, and I like to go to coffee shops.
Okay.
So I literally should do a segment on all the different coffee shops I go to Orange County. I know.
Or have a Notion.
A Notion. I'm a TikTok gal.
Or TikTok.
Yeah. Girl, so I will literally spend my whole day at like a coffee shop that I like.
Super productive.
And I just get all my work done that I need to do for that day. And then around, I would say like 5 p.m., I'll come home. And then we order meal prep. So I literally put it in the microwave. I'm like, Harry, dinner served. Yes. So I literally will heat up the meal prep. We'll eat. We'll kind of talk about our day. I'm like, okay. And a lot of the time, since we are in business together, there's stuff that we need to do together or like talk about together. So after dinner, we honestly will go back to work. It's kind of like our second shift. We'll do a lot of work together. He's like, okay, I have a question. Like, I need to ask you about this process. I'm like, hey, can we do this feature? Yeah. So we do a lot of work together. And then by 7:30, we're kind of winding down again. And then the whole day begins again.
I love that. And you know what? It makes me like, some people that are listening are probably like, oh my God, they work all the time. But when you're building and you don't just have an Airbnb, buy a house at 21, like all this stuff just like, sitting.
Fall out the sky.
Exactly. Like you got to put in the time and the work, and I don't think people really like sometimes understand that, but it's worth it. And we're both like all of us are so young, so it's like this is our time to just put in that work, right?
Yeah, and then sometimes Ralph and I think about it, and I'm like, I mean. So actually, we don't even have a TV in our room. Like, we don't watch shows. I've never liked movies or anything like that. And we always think about it. Like, if we weren't working on business till, like, late at night, like, what else would we be doing? I'm like, I literally don't know. Like, I don't watch a show. I don't watch movies. Like, and we always say, like, what do people usually do? I'm like, I don't know.
I'm sorry. I do, like, a little show.
You do, like, a show? It's okay. Yeah. Like, I know people love their shows.
I'm just to wind down. If not, like, I'm not gonna stop. But I think
I'll watch like YouTube occasionally.
Or like I love also like podcasts on YouTube and stuff. I mean, there's just so much out there in content, and that's important too, like what we listen to and what we like watch and hear and all of that. What would you say to, like, if you could go back maybe to when you first started, or like 19 years old, right? Like, what would you do differently?
That's a good question. You know what? Actually, the other day, 2 days ago, on like one of like my stories, I have like a highlight, and I was going through it. Ralph was going through it, and it was like 2-3 years ago, so I was like around 19 years old.
Okay, oh my gosh.
And dude, my 19-year-old, I was like killing it. I was like, I just got out of a 12-hour shift from signing, and I'm gonna go get a coffee because I'm gonna go to sleep at 6 a.m. to study.
Yeah.
So like, I think my 19-year-old was like really on track to build what I've built today. Yeah. Like, it is crazy. That's
why for the people that are super young, I'm like, go for it. Like, just do it. Like, because then you kind of have not only the time, I mean, I don't want to say
and energy.
The energy. I mean, you can start whenever, right? Yeah. It's never too late, but it's like when you're younger, you just, like how you said, you were living at home still. Yeah. Like, you just have that opportunity, and some people sometimes think, like, I'm too young. Like, I remember I used to be kind of like, people would just always say, like, you're so young. And I'm like, is that, like, they wouldn't say it in a bad way, but they weren't saying it in a good way. And so, but you just, like,
I just like embrace the youth. Yeah. And at first, honestly, I would be like, I don't know if people are gonna use me as their notary. Like, it's something so serious, and like I'm like so young, right? And then I started to really embrace that. I'm like, I'm young, and because of that, like I would tell my clients, I love to learn. So you can like teach me how you want the paperwork. I was like, I don't have kids. I don't have nothing. Like, I will go work all day. So like, find what's an advantage, right? If you're older, I have experience. If you're younger, you can mold me to exactly how you would like me to work, you know? So use what you have. And that's what I use. Like, I use my youth to my advantage, because someone can easily be like, oh, like, she's so young. Like, I don't trust her, right? But I use that to my advantage. Like, I'm like learning quickly. I'm like educated. I'm working all day long, working circles around people, because I currently don't have like a family, and like my partner is equally as involved, so we're able to work more, you know? Yeah. So using what you can.
Yes. I love that didn't like stop you. Was there any, or what about in those moments where we all have them where you're like, what the F, like, am I doing? Or you're just, do you ever feel like frustrated or kind of just like a little overwhelmed? And what do you do to get out of that funk?
Yeah, I honestly, there's been moments where sometimes like I'm like, damn, like I should be like farther, I should be doing more. And I know people are like, you're crazy. I know, right? But it's normal. Like, you're always gonna feel like you could do more,
especially with social media, and you just see people at like other levels.
And then I definitely do get overwhelmed, and there's times where I was still a full-time student doing this, and now I have like multiple businesses and the Airbnb and all X, Y, and Z. And honestly, I don't really feel like that for long periods of time. I think maybe I'll feel like that for like a day. And then I kind of just get over that feeling. I usually just tell Ralph, like, I'm feeling so overwhelmed, and he's like, it's okay, like, whatever. It kind of just goes on, but I've never let something...
It's like seasons.
It's literally like, it'll probably be like a moment or like a day, but I've never had like struggle with like motivation, like for weeks at times. It's never been like that. I think I just apply so much pressure, and like I would hate to be like in a couple years being like, damn, I could have done more, but like I let like my ego or like my self-pity get in my way. That makes sense. And kind of giving yourself that grace. But also, so I want to know also, do you have like a mentor, or are you in like a coaching mastermind, or no? Like, you and Ralph are like your own mastermind? We've like joined some. We have like one that we really like right now. It's more for like the wealth side, but like in terms of like mindset, I honestly think it's like Alex Hermosi and like the people that I've listened to, and then him and I, like, we literally are masterminding from the moment we wake up. Like, sometimes in the shower, I'm like, oh my God, I had this great idea, right?
Like,
like,
level.
Dinner, like, all we do is mastermind with each other. So I think we're very fortunate in that sense, where we're literally, like, masterminding 24/7 without even knowing. We take the dog on a walk, and we're like, oh, shit, this is a really good idea. Or, like, hey, did you do the Airbnb thing? Or, like, hey, you know, let's check up on this. So I think kind of got lucky with like having a partner. But even when I didn't have him, I mean, I was just listening to my podcast, and just sometimes it's better to like be alone than be with like friends or people bringing you down.
Yeah, exactly. And how is that like when it comes to friendships, or did you ever have to like let people go or maybe distance yourself from family? Like, I know that's a big part in like when people are getting into our business and stuff. Like, how did you deal with that?
So, I mean, I don't think we have a lot of friends right now. Because you just start to grow. Like, I talked to like maybe like one person from high school. Like, I really don't, I just feel like we're just so different. Yeah. And like, not in a bad way, like, I'm very nice, but if we were to go to dinner, like, I don't know what we'd talk about because we're so different. And I think naturally I've been attracting more like-minded friends. Kind of like you, right? Like, naturally you, like, the universe starts to bring you together. And then we've recently made friends together, even in our building, even like some friends online that I recently made. And I'm like, oh my God, like, we're so much alike. Like, this is my community, rather than like people that I met in high school that I don't like have as much common. Obviously, there's that one or two person that you kind of stay with. Yeah. But I think friendship, I mean, I just don't know a lot of like early 20-year-olds that are like thinking and being like me. But I don't care if like how old you are. I will be your friend if I like you, you know?
Yeah. And it's important, like this also aligning with the same goals. And how Theo Andy says, like, there's a season of like, he calls it like a lone island or island or something, like where you're kind of alone in the like during that transition phase where maybe you're distancing yourself from some people, but then you're going to attract those new people.
I think Ralph and I recently went through that. Like, I think we recently like truly stopped or like distancing ourselves from a lot of people. And I think as of this month we literally have made a lot of new friends. That's randomly beautiful. Like left and right, like in our apartment building, like us, my other friend that I met online, and we did like recently let go like of a lot of people. So that's interesting.
I mean, and I think that's important because it can be lonely sometimes. Like, it's awesome, you're like in your goals, but sometimes you do want connection. And with people that are also in that same journey, right? And that, so definitely, I'm glad like we're connecting too. Like, we'll definitely keep in touch. Keep in touch. I think another thing, just kind of I want to share is what about your future? Like, where do you see Natalie in 10 years?
In 10 years? Oh, wow. That's a big one. In 10 years...
Besides, like, living in Bel Air and owning everything.
Besides, like, all the material things I can ever think of in my life. I think really just Ralph and I empowering people. I think by 10 years, our business would be booming. Our life probably be married. X, Y, and Z kids, right? But... in terms of like our mission and our vision, I think in 10 years, definitely empowering other people that they can have it all. They can have the dream relationship. They can have the businesses. They can have the financial freedom. And I think by 10 years, hopefully transitioning more to like the public speaking and empowering. I think right now we're doing a lot building. We're like in like literally like face down building. In 10 years, we hope to transition more so that we can really empower other people literally worldwide to achieve their dreams and like reach their highest potential, whether that's like being like their love life or like their entrepreneur journey, knowing that you can do it. And I think another thing too for Ralph and I is like, I mean, I love Andy and Ed and Alex, right? But when do you ever see like Latinos doing stuff? Like I mean, it's very rare, right? So we'd love to build and create something to even inspire our community that like you can do it, you know, like it's not like all the just books I read or even just women in general. Like it's very rare.
Oh my gosh, I know. So continue building and continue sharing your journey because it's super inspirational. So thank you so much for being on the podcast, sharing your story. Is there anything else you want to share?
Of course. I'm just so honored to be here, and I can't thank you enough for choosing me to be one of your speakers. And it was so great to meet you and do this in person. I know it was going to be like an online thing, but we ended up doing it in person. And just hearing all the things that you're up to, like, it's freaking so incredible, like, all the things that you've been doing and inspiring other Latinas to a Latina lifestyle. Like, that's amazing.
Yes, thank you so much.